Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hope you're all doing good. I'm Mad, and I'm your personal expert on everything both smartphone and photo, and I just have to talk about this phone. This is the Moto G Stylus 2025 in the Pantone Gibraltar C. Now, this isn't going to be a full-on review, but I have to talk about this phone. This is such a good phone for $400. It's unbelievable to me. So let me say right off the bat that here in 2025, Motorola is killing this. Moto's been on the upswing with their phones, but the features they're packing into these phones, the pricing, and this new collaboration with Pantone, these guys are killing it at Motorola. You get so much with this phone for $399 US that I had to break out the rest of my current flagships just to drive a point home. 16 Pro Max, Pixel 9 Pro, S25 Edge, OnePlus 13R. Latest iPhone, newest chip, Tensor G4, Snapdragon 8 Elite, Snapdragon Gen 3. Of course, these are all bona fide flagship performers. But it kinda doesn't matter. This guy has a Snapdragon 6 Gen 3, and it runs so well. I've been saying for years, every time I pick up a Moto phone, it's surprising. Oh wow, this actually runs nice. Smooth, it runs good. Moto phones are really light or have almost no bloatware. They have some Moto apps, but their boot of Android runs good. And to make sure I illustrate this clearly to you, here's a Galaxy A36. So this is the 2026 30 series model. It also has a Snapdragon 6 Gen 3, and it runs about half as good as this Moto G Stylus 2025 does, and they have the same processor. That should speak to how well optimized the Moto software is on these phones. Now, usually when I buy and test these kind of more entry to mid-tier level phones, usually with Android, out of the box, that's the hardest it's ever gonna have to work. Multiple updates, downloading all the apps, all that stuff. And usually with entry to mid-level chipsets, they're working overtime. The phones will slow down for a period of time until everything gets downloaded and updated, and then it goes back to running smoothly. That's exactly what this did, the A36, but for the first time ever on a $400 phone, like a mid to lower mid-tier phone. It ran smooth the entire time that it was downloading and updating all my apps, all the software. It ran exceptionally well. And I've never been able to say that before. So the performance at this price point is amazing. Using it day to day is a pleasure. It runs smooth. It works great. Now, it's not going to run up as high of a Geekbench score, it's not even close to any of the rest of these, but where it counts, and it can run some games, but where it counts, using it on a day-to-day basis, it runs flawlessly. And for $400 on a really good looking, good sized phone with an excellent panel, it has a 120 Hz OLED panel. I've never seen this before. And all that stuff, that's not even like any of the rest of the reasons of why I really like this thing. I bought this because I am really big into colors and aesthetic. I think this collaboration with Pantone is exhilarating. It gets me excited. And I thought, hey, I haven't had a Moto in the studio for a while. Let me go pick this guy up just so I can look at this beautiful Gibraltar blue color. It's deep, it's pleasing. Motorola's fake leather on the back. I think they call it eco leather. It feels good and it looks good. That's mostly why I picked this up. I did my initial unboxing video and I've been testing it and using it. And here we are a couple days later. And in the middle of this, I was like, hold on, this is a fantastic freaking phone. You get so much for the price, so much for the $400. Let me go through the list. I have it bullet pointed down. So as mentioned, 6.7 inch, 120 Hertz AMOLED panel. It's a little bit over 1080p. It's sharp. You can choose color settings between natural, radiant, and vivid. I have it on radiant right now. I think radiant and vivid both look great. So it's a sharp, beautiful, fast 120 Hz OLED panel. But wait, it's a bright panel too. This phone is extraordinarily bright. Motorola claims that it can get up to 3000 nits peak brightness, which is so bright. But in terms of using it to view content and videos, it's a bright, beautiful, sharp screen. This thing is IP68 certified. IP68 dust and water resistant certified at $400. 256 gigs of internal storage, 8 gigs of RAM, and you can tack on an additional up to 16 gigs borrowing from the phone's internal storage for a combined total of up to 24. Not only that, it has an SD card slot, so you can throw in up to a 1 terabyte SD card to expand it. So if the 256 gigs that it comes with is not enough, you have that. The bezels on this phone are slim and even. It would be acceptable parameters for even a flagship phone. Just to drive the point home, here's 4 flagships lined up with the new G Stylus. As you can see, this is right in line with what you're getting with these flagship displays. It's just as sharp, just as bright when you need it to be. The bezels are basically just as slim, and the 6.7-inch panel is pretty much right in line with what you would get if you're shopping for the big boys, the flagship. My point is the experience you're getting with this is very similar to where if you would pay double the price or 3 times the price. Let me tell you guys, this phone at $400 is a third of the price of these guys, but it's 80% of the phone. This does 80 to 85% of what all the rest of these phones do. Now, of course, preferences and different markets and everything come into play, but in terms of what you are getting for the amount, for the price you are paying for it, this G Stylus is blowing me away. All of that, and not even getting into one of the best parts, this is the only other phone in the US that offers stylus support. If you don't want to pick up one of the Galaxy Ultras with the S Pen, this is your only other option, and it's a third of the price, and it works just as well. It offers moderate pressure sensitivity. You can quickly get into a note when you take it out of the phone. The Galaxy S Pen, they took the Bluetooth out of it, so they're pretty much on even playing fields when it comes to that. It works and performs great, just as it should. Thought we were done? Nope. 68-watt charging. Yeah, these other 3 flagships do about half, except for OnePlus with the Super VOOC, it charges up to 80. And usually, when they give you the fast charging, you won't have wireless charging. Nope, got that too. 15-watt wireless charging. You get all of this with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. You get all of that all in a phone that has this freaking sweet looking leather back. In-display fingerprint sensor, optical, works perfectly. And if you want, you can actually use it while the phone is off. So you actually don't have to tap the phone awake to actually use it. Yes, it is only an optical sensor, but it works perfectly well. It has Face ID as well. I tend to not use it on Android phones. I've moved to just using fingerprint when it comes to Android phones. That's just how I like it on the Android phones. 32 megapixel front-facing camera with a Sony image sensor. By default, it shoots 8 megapixels, but you can set it to shoot 32 megapixel selfies. You can shoot up to 4K 30, 1080 60, or slow motion 1080p 120, or standard HD 720 up to 240. So with the camera system, that's where it's starting to actually more seem like a mid-tier phone. That's the caveat to it. It doesn't have 4K 60. And aside from that, the only thing that it really doesn't have that most people would look for is the always-on display. With Moto software, you have the Moto Peak feature. I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of the Moto experience. Works great. But here's one thing that I do have to say about the camera system on this. Moto has finally, in terms of the still image quality, has taken a step up with it. I'm very happy with the photos that I've been taking on this phone. Before, they were just all right. Now, they're actually good. Are they the best? No, but they are good, and they're consistently good. This does have a Sony Lydia sensor in here. It does say right there, I don't know if you can see it from here. Me personally, my taste, I like Sony image sensors. I like how they render the photos compared to Samsung image sensors, for example. Even the Pixels right now, for the flagships, I believe their image sensors are manufactured by Samsung. But as long as you can hold the phone still for about a quarter of a second and snap the picture, it'll pretty much do the rest of it, and you will get a pleasing, good image. By default, it's binned to 12 megapixels, but there is a high-res mode to where you can bump it up to 50, and they both look good. Those are my thoughts and quick review on the Motorola G Stylus 2025. If you guys made it this far in the video, leave a like. It helps me a lot. Links down below if you guys want to pick this guy up, and I will see you in the next video.